Okay, this is the second part of Tosfos Hamoneach on Daf Chazayin Amud Aleph. Daf Chazayin Amud Aleph, Hamoneach, we're up to the second part. Now, the second part, Tosfos wants to bring down with a machlokas. Here, I guess the background is that there's another case, and Tosfos wants to say that case is not exactly similar to this case. The case, which happens to be in Baba Basra, or later on in Baba Kama and Daf Men Vav and Aleph, the case is called as follows: Hamocha Shravenim Sanakha, which means you have two people, a buyer and a seller. A buyer goes to buy an ox, and the buyer wants to buy an ox because he wants to plow his field. He wants to use it to plow. So he goes to buy an ox, and the seller sells him an ox that's a nakhan. Means he gores, he's a wild ox, he's untamed. There's no way that the buyer is going to be able to use it for plowing. The buyer takes the ox home, and sure enough, it's a wild ox. He can't plow with it. Comes back to the seller, and he says, "Look what'd you do to me? You sold me an ox. It's a goring ox. I want my money back." So the seller says to the buyer, "Well, I thought you wanted to buy an ox to shech, to eat. If you're shechting an ox, if you're slaughtering it to eat, it doesn't make a difference if it's wild or not." And that's what he says. Now, who wins? Does the buyer get his money back, or does the seller say, "No, this is the way I thought that you, this is the way I understood that you were"? So in fact, there's a machlokas. Okay, Rav over there says Harizeh mekachtos. Mekachtos, it's a mistaken sale. Okay, the sale is a mistake. Sale is a mistaken mistake. It was a mistaken sale. Okay, and therefore he gets his money back. Shmuel, on the other hand, says no. The seller could say, "I sold it to you for shchita, and that's your problem." Okay, now it sounds like over here everything would fit in according to Shmuel more, right? Because Shmuel, just like over here, the sale is going through. Over there, Shmuel is saying the sale is going through. It's Rav that over there says, no, the sale is a mistake. So would Rav say the same thing over here also? In our case, when a guy says, "I want a jug," and he's saying, let's say he says, "I want to buy a barrel." Okay, and the seller, he says, "Chavis, I want to buy a chavis, I want to buy a big," he has in mind a big barrel. And the lokeach wants to go ahead and give him what? He wants to give him a small jug. And the seller is saying, "I call this a chavis also. This is what I call a chavis. And I want to give you a small jug, not a big barrel." So it sounds like Rav would say over here by us that it's a mistaken sale. Just like he says by Hamocha Shravenim Sanakha, it's a mistaken sale. So too here. Comes along in Tosfos and says it's not so. And now we're ready to read. V'yomer Rabbeinu Tam. So Reish Taf stands for Rabbeinu Tam. Okay, he's one of the big Bali Tosfos, one of the earlier Bali Tosfos, a grandson of Rashi. Okay, so Reish Taf stands for Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam says the Afilu. This is an abbreviation of Afilu. The Afilu Rav. That even according to Rav. The Amar that says Beperek Hamocher Peros in Baba Basra on Daf Tzaddik Beis Amud Aleph, Ulakaman, and later on. Ulakaman means later on. Very common word in Rashi Tosfos. Ulakaman, and later on. Bahapara in Perek Hapara on Daf Mem Vav. It says. Rav says, Holchin b'mamon achar harov. So we follow the mamon, we follow the majority. Gabe hamocher shal chavero. In the case where a mocher, okay, right? We know mocher is the seller. He sells a short to his friend. V'nimsa nakhan. That's our case. Like you sell a shore to your friend and you find that it's a wild shore. Nachan, it gores. It's a gore. It's a goring ox. Hacha, even though over there, okay, Rav would say it's a mekach, and I guess most of the time people want an ox to shech, not to shech. They want an ox to work the field. So you follow the rove over there, right? Nevertheless, hacha, but here, in our case of, here by our case of Katan Chavis, Modeh. So over here, Rav would admit, that we sheyachal hamuchsek. Muchsek means the one holding the money. So he would admit that the muchsek, which is the one holding the money, Lomar lamotzi, could say to the motzi, the one who wants to take away the money, one who is taking the money. Okay, the motzi could say to the motzi, Aleph Ayin Pei, which stands for Af Al P, which means even though. So Af Al P, even though. Shaharov Misayach, that the rov Misayach. Misayach comes from the word siyah, like siyata deshmaya. Even though the rov is helping you, cha at the end of the word is you. So even though Misayach, the rov, the majority, Misayach is helping, even though the rov is helping you, lo totzi mimeni mamon, you cannot take out, yotzi, yatza, out, take out, go out. Lo totzi, you tough at the end of the word means you. You cannot take mimeni, from me, mamon, you can't take from me any money. You will not win. Why? De kimli benafshoy, because I am sure of myself. Okay? Because I am sure of myself. De kimli benafshoy, where I am established. Kimli is like established, but I want to use the word know about myself. That's nafesh is so, but nafshoy means I know about myself. Shani minamiyat, that I am from the minority. In other words, in the case here by Katan Chavis, I know I am from the minority, and I call a Katan Chavis and a Chavis Achad. Abel, that's hacha here. Abel ben nimsa nakhan. But in the case of the ox, where he's trying to sell him an ox, and it's a wild ox, lo matze. Matze means here he is not able. He is not able. Amar lo matze amar mocher. The seller is not able to say, Kimli benafshecha, I know about you. Nafshecha is you, right? She'ata, that you, minamiyat, that you're from the minority. Dezavne lenichsisa, that I sold you. I sold this to you to shecht. The adarabba is a very common word. The adarabba is because just the opposite. Just. The adarabba, just the opposite. Amr lokeach, the buyer can say la mocher to the mocher, ata hit eisani. Ata et eisani. you made a mistake in me. You're mistaken, from the word ta'os, that you are mistaken. You, and E at the end of the word is me. You mistook me. You mistook me. The Kimli ben Afshoy, that I know myself, Shani min harov, that I am from the rov, Dizavne l'rajya, that I bought it. L'rajya means to work. I bought it to plow, to work, not to shecht. So I know that I bought it to work. So basically, what do you see from here? You see from over here that even though Rav over there says it's a mekachtos and it's no sale, Rabbeinu Tam is saying that Rav would agree over here by Kad and Chavis that the person wins. It is going to be a good sale. And if I agree to give you a Chavis, and I am part of the minority that hold that a Chavis is a small jug, I can give you a Kad because I know myself, I am part of the minority. However, when it came to the selling of the shore, the selling of the ox, you can't say that. I can't, because then it's about the other person. I thought that you were you wanted a shecht. You were a type of a person that you're going to shecht. No, because the buyer there could say, no, I'm a type of a person that I know myself better than you, and I'm a type of a person that needs a shore to plow. Therefore, it's different, and Rav would agree over here that this sale is going to last.